Hello everyone! Welcome to Field Trip Friday and Happy Halloween! Today, we're going to be reading the story, The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin, and then doing a pumpkin craft. So here we go!
The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookley wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookley was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookley the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookley sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookley wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather's fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go. Bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight. Spookley sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. Suddenly the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Spookley knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped, again he flopped. Again he flipped, and then he stopped, right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookley the square pumpkin had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then, one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack. With a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up, one by one, and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too. But there was brave little Spookley, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookley's were the most special that had ever grown. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And, oh, that morning, about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. Some were cubes, and some rectangular. Some were flat, and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes! Now, every year on Halloween, Spookley's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then, they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now, you know the story of how Spookley grew. Maybe someday, if you tell someone too, they'll go tell someone who will go tell another, and maybe one day we'll all discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover.
Now we're going to create a jack-o'-lantern mask using a paper plate, and you're going to want to make it orange. You can do this by coloring on it or painting it, or maybe you just have an orange paper plate. You'll need some green and brown pipe cleaners, a straw, black paper, something to draw with. I'm just going to use a pencil, tape, and scissors. So once you finish your first step of coloring your plate in, you're going to use your pencil to draw where you want your eyes and what shape you want your eyes. Make sure that they're big enough that you'll be able to see through it. So I'm drawing 2 triangle eyes. 1, 2. And I'm going to make this one just a little bigger because I think I made it too small. And then your next step is to cut them out. And to do this, I'm going to fold my plate just a little bit where my eyes are and make a little cut so that I can get my scissors in the hole. So I'm going to cut one eye. And if you need help from an adult doing this part, that's okay. I've got one eye almost all the way cut out. Now we have one eye. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Fold my plate, make a little cut, then cut it out. One more side. Now we've got 2 eyes on our jack-o'-lantern, and that's the hardest part. So I'm going to move my scraps out of my way. And I'm going to take my black paper. This is how I'm going to draw my nose and my mouth. So I'm going to make my nose just a little bit smaller than the eyes, and then I'm going to give him a funny mouth. And I think he's going to have some teeth. And then the same way you cut your eyes out, you're going to cut out your nose and your mouth. This part should be much easier. Here's my nose. Now the mouth. Almost there. All right, last little bit, and there's our mouth. So I'm going to take just little pieces of tape and tape these onto my paper plate. The nose is very little, so I need a very little piece. So I'm going to put some tape on the nose, and put the nose on the plate. Now he has eyes and a nose. I'm going to do the same with the mouth. Take some tape and just put some tape on so that it's nice and sticky. One more piece should be enough. And then I'm going to put this underneath the nose. And now our jack-o'-lantern has his whole face. The next step is we're going to flip it upside down and use our pipe cleaners to make the stem. So I'm going to take a couple of brown pipe cleaners and I'm going to twist them together so that it's a little bit thicker. And I'm just going to tape it behind the plate. I'm going to make sure I tape over the ends so that they don't poke me. And then we're going to take a green one. I'm going to use my pencil for help, and I'm going to wrap it around so that it looks like a spring. And I'm just going to tape it right next to my brown pipe cleaners. The good thing about pipe cleaners is you can bend them so you get it just the way you want. So now my pumpkin has a stem, and I'm going to use my straw. This is going to be the handle so we can put it up to our face. So I'm going to keep it upside down, and I'm just going to tape the straw to the back. And once you've done that, you can hold it up to your face and you'll be a jack-o'-lantern. I hope you have fun making your jack-o'-lantern mask. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you again soon for Field Trip Friday.